Thank you for tuning into Hilantra podcast. Get ready for a dose of holistic wellness talks to help you achieve optimal health. Enjoy this episode. Welcome everyone to this episode of Hilantra, where we dive into the world of holistic wellness. Today, I'm very honored to have a remarkable guest, someone who brings a wealth of expertise in healthcare and holistic wellness. Hailing from Toronto, Canada, she started her career as a critical care nurse, and she witnessed firsthand the incredible impact of essential oils for health and well-being. Presently, she serves as a wellness consultant for doTERRA essential oils, and she has a passion to empower individuals in their journey to improve their health and their wellness through the natural potency of essential oils. As a personal testament to the power of these oils, I have been using them for more than 3 years now to treat different conditions, but also I use it daily. Like I have my diffuser on all the time. Right now, I have one of my favorites, lavender essential oil, and I also use it every day to infuse my water. And I'm sure our guest will talk about that later on. So today's topic is treating chronic pain with essential oils. And without further ado, let's extend our warmest welcome to Megan Smith. Megan, welcome. And I'm very excited to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rasha. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So Megan, can you please introduce yourself and share a bit about your journey and how it is that you started into this field of essential oils?
Absolutely. So as you said in my introduction, I started as a critical care nurse in a level 1 trauma unit in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Very highly stressful. We moved to Dubai, and I decided I don't want to do that anymore because I've worked in Saudi Arabia and I did the practice there, which was really wonderful, but I was feeling like it was time to really do something different. And I got away from healthcare and really wasn't feeling very fulfilled in these other areas that I was choosing to do. So the past almost 2 years now, I've been with doTERRA essential oils, and this is my passion. I love to help people to heal, and that is where I find my greatest strength in helping people. And I found where I found that I benefited most was that I was diagnosed with having hypothyroidism about 12 years ago. I didn't know I had hypothyroidism. I was on a visit to Florida to see a friend of mine, and she was going to this holistic clinic. And she's like, "Oh, why don't you just come along and get a test?" So I was like, "Okay, sure, fine." And when the test came back, I was shocked. I was shocked to see that I was hypothyroid. So, and it made sense because one thing that I didn't know what was happening, I noticed that I was losing part of my eyebrow hairs on the top, and I didn't know why. But yeah, that was part of the one of the symptoms, and everything else was just silent at that point. But I was taking medication for that here in UAE, and then when I realized that I could get medication from that clinic in Florida that was more natural, suited to my personal blood work, I started doing that. So for years, I've been doing blood work every 3 months, sending it over to Florida. But what I noticed is that based on my blood results, the dosage kept getting higher and higher and higher. And I changed everything, my diet, exercise. It didn't matter what I did. So I just resigned myself. This is my life. It didn't matter. I just started taking iodine, all these different things. So I just thought this is my life until doTERRA. Then I realized that there's an oil for that, as we say. I found my blend, and also along with essential oil-based supplements, and voila, I'm off of everything. My eyebrows have grown back, and yeah, I'm feeling better than ever. Yeah, so this is my journey. with it, and then from there it just branched out. I have essential oils that I use on my dog for her atopic dermatitis, so got her off of the pharmaceuticals off of that as well. So yeah, so that's my journey in a nutshell.
Thank you for sharing that, Megan. And it's impressive because, I've heard of different people treating different very mild conditions, but you're talking about very specific chronic condition, hyperthyroidism. So this is really impressive, and I'd like to know more about that. So since our topic today is chronic pain, can you please tell us how the science works behind essential oils, specifically in treating chronic pain? And then maybe you can introduce some of these oils that people normally use for this condition.
Yes, so there have been quite a few clinical studies that have been done and that are ongoing, and most of what people talk about or what we hear is all anecdotal. But if we're going by the science is starting to show that essential oils do have an effect on pain. So, for instance, we have one that I love, and to me, it really is the number one go-to, and that's called copaiba. Now, copaiba, that comes from the resin from the copaifera tree from South America, and this copaiba has what's called beta-carophylline, and which has been extensively studied, and it is an anti-inflammatory, it is an analgesic. So what that does is that it also acts as a muscle relaxant. It also is an anti-nociceptive, which means that it blocks the sensory neural pathway so that it decreases your perception of pain. And that one works amazing. So for instance, you could use it for athletes use it for muscle aches and pains, arthritis aches and pains. You could use it for a headache. It works fast, and it's also very, very effective.
So it's basically your essential oil Panadol version of Panadol and essential oil suite.
Yes. And also, what's really quite interesting is that our body has what we call cannabinoid receptors. We have probably around 170, and these attach themselves to the cannabinoid receptors. And that's what works so well because these are all plant-based, and we are biological beings, so it works very well. Panadol also works on cannabinoid receptors as well. So we can see the comparison when we look at plant-based versus conventional medicine. Yeah. So you'll find that copaiba works amazingly well for a variety of pain. Also peppermint. So peppermint has menthol, and which also helps with pain relief, inflammation. If you go to the chiropractors, they might use a rub that contains menthol in it, and that the menthol alters our perception of pain. So you can use that for headaches, for migraines, also for joint pains. It also is a muscle relaxant as well. And if you diffuse it, it also uplifts your mood.
So if we talk about copaiba, because I've used it before for other conditions, but can you tell us how copaiba can be used? Because everyone thinks that essential oils can only be used as for diffusers, but we also use them topically. You can also take them internally. Can you please tell us how to use copaiba? Peppermint as well, I know you can take it internally.
Yeah, absolutely. So copaiba, you'd want to take one drop in at least 120 mLs of water. You can do that daily, and that will work for internally anti-inflammatory. You may not feel it so much as far as pain relief. It's not the tastiest of essential oils, but I occasionally put a drop in my water just for health and therapeutic benefits. And I blend it with other oils as well, depending on how I want to feel that day. So that is one way of taking it. And you could also, for topical, you should really dilute it. So there are essential oils that majority of them you need to dilute, which we'll get into a little bit later. And copaiba is one of those ones that you always, to be on the safe side, to dilute it. For instance, in 10 in a 10 ml roller, you might want to put 1 to 6 drops, which is the equivalent of 0.5% to 2%. You really don't want to go over that much, but if you did, you could go to 3% depending on your pain. So you would start low and then work your way up to make a more concentrated blend based on how you feel. But you'll find that it works fast. If you put it on directly on your skin, that is one of the oils that it's not actually going to hurt you, because there's no it's not super concentrated when you put on your skin, because I put it on my skin and only just a couple of drops and rub it in. But you should really blend it with carrier oil, such as fractionated coconut, which is a thinner oil, or jojoba oil, which most resembles molecularly the sebum on our skin, or almond oil, which has vitamins, and it pretty much will work for most people's skin. So those are the carrier oils that you can use when you want to apply it to your skin and massage it in to the area that's having the pain and inflammation. And if you want to have a quicker absorption, you can put a plastic wrap over it if you want to have really fast absorption. But you're going to notice that copaiba almost immediately. Yeah.
That's amazing. I haven't used it in this way, but I'm going to take your advice today. And next time, hopefully I won't need it, but next time if I need it or someone I know needs it, I love this this technique. I haven't used it in this way. Another way that I use topically, or when I use essential oils topically, I like to put something warm on it. Do you think that giving a little bit of warmth to that area helps also with absorption?
You can use it as a warm compress. Yes, you can apply as warm compress because that brings circulation to the area and a little bit of heat to the area. And so then when you get the increased circulation, then you get increased absorption as well. So yeah, you can definitely add warm, but it just depends on the pain. If you're having I would say for instance like a muscle pain, or something that like an injury or a bruising, then you might want to, or swelling, you might want to have a cool compress to add to that. Yeah. But if it's like a, even for your tummy, like a menstrual pain, you might want to put a warm compress on that with the copaiba.
Thank you for that. So yes, you mentioned copaiba, you mentioned also peppermint. Can we use peppermint in the same way?
Yes, you can use peppermint in the same way. Yes, you can put it in, add it to your water. It's so cool, so refreshing, aids in digestion. Not so much for pain when you take it internally, but definitely on the skin. Yes, because that cooling sensation, a lot of rubs that they use and creams that they use that you find in the pharmaceuticals, it could be like a cool heat, for instance. So you put it on. So that all alters your perception of the pain when you add it to your skin. So then it's almost like a distraction. Yeah. And it's also relaxing, because if you relax, then you have less pain. Kind of like when I was in the hospital working with patients, of course, with severe injuries. And we would tell them, if we're going to move them, we'd say, just take a deep breath, inhale and exhale. Because if you try it, inhaling and exhaling, you cannot tense up. If you inhale and exhale, it's impossible to tense up and inhale and exhale. So that gets the person to relax, then they have less pain when that happens, which is why a third one that I can recommend is lavender, because lavender decreases stress, it decreases tension, increases relaxation, puts you in a more calm state, and therefore you're gonna have less pain. Yeah, so it can also be given analgesic effect as well. And if you like, you can mix and blend, the copaiba and the lavender, so you get the pain relief and you get the relaxation as well. Yeah, so it's just to blend for whatever works. So it's mostly trial and error. Yeah.
I love peppermint. Like you said a while ago, I take it almost on a daily basis with my water to infuse my water because it really, really helps. I usually get a lot of bloating from different foods. So I love it. Yes, it gives you that minty, fresh feeling in your mouth, but also it's almost instant relief when I take it. It's like instant relief. And lavender as well. I don't infuse my water as much with lavender. I prefer to diffuse it and or use it topically when I want to relax or right before going to bed. But yeah, peppermint is one of my favorites for infusing. I haven't used it as a for chronic pain relief yet. But it makes so much sense, like you said. A lot of these pharmaceuticals and these rubs that we buy from the pharmacy or that are prescribed by the doctors, they have that menthol smell. And the essential oil is quite concentrated for peppermint. So I noticed that when I do use it, whether it's as an infusion, for example, I have to use very, very little with a really big bottle of water, and I prefer it with cold water because it's really concentrated. So you don't really need that much, right?
Yeah, one drop, even less. So I tell people, I know the minimum is 120 mLs. I tell people at least 200 mLs. You can even go to 1 liter. You're going to taste that peppermint. Yeah, and you can feel it on your lips. So that's definitely one of these oils that you're going to want to dilute before applying onto your skin. So yeah, I always say start low and go slow.
I like that. Yes, very nice. I like that. Yes. So excellent. We talked about copaiba. We talked about peppermint and lavender. Is there any other oil you would like to talk about?
Yeah, a clove, which is a hot oil. So definitely you want to dilute that. And that is great for toothaches. Wonderful. One touch, and it's that will numb the pain. That's a numbing essential oil, but also it's a hot oil. So absolutely, you've got to dilute that.
Yes, I do. I have it as well, and very, very strong. Like you can even feel it on your skin, even when you dilute it, and maybe you want to take it internally, you can really feel it on the skin, and you can feel the skin a little bit numb. If I'm not mistaken, I think they use clove for all these medicines that the dentists use, and that they use for the mouth, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great. Just a little bit, or if you want to put it like on a cotton swab, like for and just touch it. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it for kids, obviously. Yeah. But we have to be careful when we're applying these oils as well. Keep it away, especially the hot oils. Make sure they stay away from your eyes. Don't put them in your ears and any sensitive areas where there's mucous membranes, like a mucous membrane would be like your mouth, inside your nose, your eyes. Yeah, especially the peppermint, because peppermint is great for migraines, and people tend to apply it to their temples. And I always warn them, make sure it's away from the temples because the oil tends to spread out. Once you add it to your skin, it tends to spread out. And if it's too close, even though you think it's not very close to the eye, it will migrate. So, yeah. But the nice thing is that the antidote for putting something that's either burning or not working, you just rub some coconut oil on it, any oil, olive oil, any oil, and it will just take the sting away. Yeah, it'll reverse it.
Oh, that's amazing. I've used water and it doesn't work. So if
Water
you
does
do
not
get
work.
something,
Does not work.
that's the first thing people would run to if you have a
Yeah,
burning sensation. And
yeah,
one more thing is you have to be careful that if you've applied essential oils to your hands and then rubbed it somewhere or done anything with it, you just be careful not to touch your eyes because we don't remember, we forget, and their effect stays on the hand for quite a while. Yes, it is
yes,
volatile. It's an essential oil. It tends to evaporate in the air, but it does stay in the skin for quite a while. So, you have to be really careful with rubbing your eyes or putting your hand on your face a lot.
yes.
Yeah, I've had quite a few accidents myself with that. Yes, so we did discuss now a few safety guidelines, talking about different types of hot oils that you, like you said, what was the saying again?
Start low, go slow.
Start low, go slow. So this, I think, would be at the top of your safety guidelines when using essential oils. I love that. Thank you for that. Is there anything else that you recommend when using essential oils, let's say specifically for kids or for pets? Because you said, you know, there are certain things that are better not to be used for kids.
Yes, well, doTERRA has a kids range of essential oils, and the difference between those oils and the adult version is that they're already pre-diluted. So this is the main point of it, and not all oils are for that should be used for kids. So I would always recommend speak with your healthcare professional who understands the health issues concerning your child, and also understanding the essential oils and how they work and what's appropriate for that child at the time, because different child ages require different dilution. So like for a 6-month-old, it's going to be minute versus a 6-year-old. Yeah. And quality matters a lot. So majority of the essential oils, I would say like 70 to 80% in the market are adulterated with synthetic fragrances and fillers that are toxins, and they can cause a myriad of health issues that we don't see. Maybe we won't see it today. It could be infertility down the road. God forbid, your child grows up and we're already surrounded by all these toxins. We don't need to be adding these purposefully on our skin, because our skin is very porous and permeable, and everything we put on our skin, it gets absorbed because it's in every cell within 20 minutes. So it does cause damage. So quality matters. Just make sure you're getting with a wonderful brand that's trusted and that's highly tested. And doTERRA, you can trust doTERRA because with every bottle of doTERRA, at the bottom, there is the lot number. There's a third-party website called Source to You that you can check the lot number for that particular bottle and see the test results from the third party, and you always see that it's unadulterated. So definitely quality matters, because you're going to get the therapeutic effects without any of the negative toxins. And the other thing I want to say also is, if you're new to essential oils or you're not sure, do a patch test on your forearm and let it sit for 12 to 24 hours and see if there's any adverse reaction to your skin. And I've already discussed about avoiding the mucous membranes of the eyes. Then we have to take into consideration, what medication are you taking? We're not saying that essential oils replace your medicines. It's supposed to complement your medications that you're taking from the doctor's office. So you have to be really careful about that. For instance, clary sage should not be used by women who are pregnant and lactating, especially for pregnant women, because it increases the estrogen levels, so it can cause labor. And also wintergreen. Wintergreen is essential oil that's great. That can also be anti-inflammatory. It can clear congestion, so you can put it in a pot of hot water and clear your sinuses with that. But the other thing that's notable about it is that it also can thin the blood. So if you're already on an anticoagulant that your doctor's put you on, you have to be really, really careful. So research.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's tons of material that you can find online. doTERRA themselves, they always produce a lot of material, and it's our responsibility, right? Like even going to the doctor, even asking for the doctor's recommendation, and when they give you some medication, it's also our responsibility to ask questions to the doctor. What is this good for? What are the side effects? It's our responsibility. We need to take health into our own hands.
Exactly, because we know ourselves the best. Because actually in nursing school, I had a test question. I will never ever forget it. It was my first year in nursing school, and I got it wrong. I couldn't believe it. The question, it was a multiple choice question, and one of the answers was your doc, and this is one that I picked. You are healthy because your doctor says you are, and it was incorrect because
Wow.
it was wrong. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, and that was wrong. Yeah. So because we know our health, doctors can miss something, or sometimes a doctor, we see a lot of times where they will dismiss, right? We go in and we say something's wrong and they dismiss. Oh no, don't worry, it's just this or it's just that. Yeah, no, we know ourselves best, so we have to take our own health into our own hands. And the whole goal right now, which I learned in nursing school, was disease prevention and health promotion. Because once you get sick, it's a very difficult and long road back to full health, and the recovery period can be very painful and long. So yeah, if we look back at it, we'll say we would have spent whatever it took. We would have did whatever it takes to stay healthy. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. And this is why I love talking always about holistic wellness, learning about it, spreading, more knowledge to everyone, because nobody's an expert. The more we hear about people having similar experiences to ours, helps us understand ourselves more, right? Whether it's practitioners or people who have gone through something similar, because then, there's something that somebody might say, like you, for example, today, you said a few gems that even to me, I have used essential oils for a long time. And it was like a light bulb moment. And it was like, oh, okay, that's why this happened. Oh, now I know what I need to do next time. So it's very, very important that we take responsibility to get this information and to apply it correctly and to understand ourselves and our family better so we can also be there for them. Absolutely right. Yes.
Exactly. And the one other thing that I want to say about safety is that the essential oils that are the citrus oils, do not apply them and then go into the sun, because it will cause photosensitivity and it may cause burns, and yeah, for at least 12 to 24 hours before going out. So I just say avoid applying it to your skin altogether.
I agree. I agree. I mean, for me, citrus oils like lemon or mandarin, they're amazing as water infuse to infuse water. Yeah, they're beautiful. I haven't applied any topically, but thank you for that reminder.
I have because I've made what we call pure fumes, not a perfume, but a pure
Oh,
fume, because it's pure oils. So I put like a little bit of grapefruit in there with ylang ylang. And so that you just have to be mindful. So I know if I'm putting it behind my ears, my hair covers it, so it's okay. So just be mindful, because we're not always thinking about these things when we're making our blends. So yeah, because people might say, oh, I like this fragrance, and I want it to be a little bit uh, cheerful, or I just like the fragrance and I'm just going to add a little bit. So we just have to be mindful.
yes, I totally agree. And then there is also another point. When you were talking about quality of the essential oils, we have been talking about taking these the doTERRA oils internally, but not all of the brands out there are also pure enough, like the doTERRA essential oils, to be taken internally. There are a few brands, but then again, it's the person's responsibility to do their proper research and to check the products that they're taking before they take them internally, specifically internally. I mean, in a diffuser, still it's not as let's say dangerous with certain oils as it would be if you were taking them internally, right?
Exactly. And not all of doTERRA essential oils are for consumption as well. They will have their little sign, A for aromatic, I for internal, or T for topical. They'll have those little signs next to the essential oils on their website, so you know which is which. But some of it's common sense. Nobody would want to ingest cedarwood, for instance.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's probably kind of a hint as well. And there are oils out there that people that will say that they're organic, but what does that mean? Because we essential oils uh, are really the responsibility of the company to do their own testing. So we're relying on the company and what they say, if they've done the testing or if they haven't done the testing. There is no governing body that they submit their essential oils to that can certify to say, yes, this is an organic essential oil company or brand, or this particular oil is organic. So it's completely up to the company, but they can easily ask the company for that information, for the certification. Some of them have them online, I've seen it. But even though I ask and they have it, it's pure, it's unadulterated, I ask, can I ingest it? And they say no. They say no. And a very popular brand in India, I saw it was a post on Facebook, she's putting on our skin and applying it, saying, it's a representative of the company, very popular in India, I won't say the name. And then I sent her a message, is this pure? Do you have the test results? And then she messaged me privately and asked, well, what do you want to know about the oil? And I said, I just want to know if it's adulterated or if it's pure. Yes, it's pure. Can I see some test results? Well, if you want any information, you just email us and someone will reply. So yeah, you can ask, and if they don't, then you understand that, yeah, it's probably not.
Yes, absolutely. Always be careful. Always make sure that whatever you're ingesting is good for consumption or not. Absolutely. And whatever you're using, like you said, on your skin, you have to do a patch test first and then go slow. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for these tips, Megan. So is there any other essential oils you wanted to talk about today before we move on?
If we talk about, for instance, it's getting a little bit away from pain. I do talks with Autism Society. I speak with the parents of autistic children, and there's wonderful oils that are out there that help to emotionally support those children. For instance, vetiver has been clinically shown to manage their mood and help them with focus. Frankincense also does a wonderful job with helping them to focus as well, and cedarwood, lavender helps to keep them calm. So for instance, you want to create a bedtime routine. Sometimes it's very difficult to transition them from one activity to going to bed. So you might spray some lavender on their bed sheets and put a diffuser in their room, and then they understand, oh, it's getting time for bed. All of these oils really do work to help with our emotions, to help us to focus and de-stress us, because I can tell you that the 4 things that people come and ask me about all the time, and they ask if I have something for anxiety, something for stress, something for insomnia, and something for migraines. It's really quite surprising. We are in this world today where stress is so high. There's a lot going on in the world today that's causing emotional, stress and depression. Essential oils really, really help with that, and it's all being clinically proven right now. Like I said, a lot of it is anecdotal, but if you look for the clinical evidence, it's there. It's there. And hospitals are using essential oils in the US. I think almost 200 hospitals in the US are using them in their emergency rooms, in their hospital ORs. And it's helping not only the patients that come in, because let's face it, I don't mind going into a hospital. That's my space, but nobody really likes to go into a hospital unless they absolutely have to. So that really just de-stresses them, and it doesn't smell like a hospital when they walk in. And the staff is all stressed as well.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. There is a lot of different applications, like you said, to the oils. And I'd love to have you back on another episode to discuss a lot of all these topics. And Megan, just so we can stay in this subject, can you tell us about any success stories from your clients that came to you with a specific chronic pain and you helped them manage it with essential oils?
Yeah, a good friend of mine, she was unfortunately diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer last year, and she wasn't using essential oils at the time. I started her on essential oils, and now her favorite for helping with the pain It's peppermint and On Guard. On Guard is the immunity blend. And her husband just massages it, and she says that just puts her right to sleep. Those are her go-to. She cannot live out the peppermint and the On Guard, specifically the peppermint. Yeah, she even spilled some, and she said she almost cried because it's like gold. It really is.
Yes, because it's very, very concentrated. But having experience with a family member before with breast cancer as well myself, I know that if the patient is doing some radiation treatment, then they have to be careful with what they apply on their skin. So if anyone listening to this, please take that into consideration, that you have to be careful when to apply it, and depending on what other kind of treatments you're doing at the time, correct?
Yes, again, stick with your healthcare professional and listen to what they say, because she started to use these after her treatment was completed. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Always, always consult with your healthcare professional, because again, this is not supposed to replace, but to complement in a holistic way. And actually, again, sticking on the peppermint, another friend of mine, has stomach ulcers, and she was drinking tea every time she ate. Stomach ulcer would really act up and cause her pain, so she would have to drink peppermint tea. And so I told her, I said, you know what I see when you're drinking this peppermint tea, to me it just looks like a soup of pesticides. I always say, because it's not organic, you know. But I told her, I said, you've got to try peppermint. Or we have digestan that has peppermint in it, and fennel seed and all these other great things for digestion. So she tried the peppermint for the first time, because one drop of peppermint is like 26 cups of peppermint tea. And she came and she asked me, I said, how did it go? She said, I just have to ask you one thing. I said, yeah, but it didn't work. She said, I just have to ask you one thing. I said, okay, what is it? She said, what's the bad side? I said to her, I wish I could tell you something, but there is no bad side. Yeah. So she's a very big fan, a very big fan. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had a very similar experience, and I was suffering from ulcers a few years ago, and I was given all these prescription medicine, and nothing was working to alleviate my pain, because I was constantly in pain. I used to get bloated all the time, almost for no reason. Even simple foods would make me bloated. And I was prescribed peppermint pills. So I used to boil peppermint or mint leaves at home to drink it as a tea. And then when I tried these prescription peppermint pills, they weren't working. I honestly felt like I wasn't taking anything, like they weren't doing anything. And now, anytime I feel a little bit of anything with my digestion, whether it's bloating, I don't have symptoms of ulcers anymore, thank God. But anytime I feel anything bloated, just a mild bloating, I would run and get my big bottle of water and add a couple, one or two, I mean, two, because I like the taste and my bottle is quite big, drops of peppermint oil, and that's it. And it's amazing and it works like magic. And something else I wanted to add is for people who want to ingest these oils, can you tell us about the container that people can use or can't use to put essential oils in?
Yeah, absolutely. Never, never in plastic. Never, never in plastic. I think that is the easiest way to say it. Stainless steel is great. Glass is perfect. Yeah, never, never in plastic. And in saying that, your essential oils, if you're making your own blend, make sure they are also in a tinted bottle as they come, because that will extend the shelf life, because they tend to break down very easily.
Yes, and when I blend or when I use essential oils internally, I like to add a little bit of water and then one drop of oil and then add water again. And instead of stirring it, because I realized that if I stir it with my stainless steel spoon, some of the oil can stick to the spoon. So I don't want anything to go to waste. So I just don't stir it. I just add water on top of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other really interesting thing to note too is that even the glass, it will stick. You'll see there's a residue. So I tell people they don't have to add more oil even. They can
Yeah.
just yeah, like you said, add more water, and then it'll be like your first drink. Yeah,
Exactly. Yes. Thank you for sharing these success stories, Megan. And can you tell us if anyone wants to get started with essential oils, or if they have been using essential oils, but they would like to know more, how can they get in touch with you, and what advice would you give them?
Sure. Anyone who's just starting out new, I would definitely say consult your healthcare professional, because if you're having any healthcare issues, you want to make sure that it's not going to be any contraindications, as I mentioned about the pregnancy, because sometimes we don't know that we are pregnant, so you just never know. And also a practitioner that's knowledgeable around essential oils as well. Again, research, educate yourself, not just look for what the oil does, but also look for the adverse reactions as well. Because a lot of times you'll look and you'll see, oh, okay, so like lavender, what does lavender essential oil benefits? And then you'll see all the good side, but it will never say what are the negatives. So it's important to look at both sides so that you have the full picture of the essential oil. And dilute. Make sure you dilute. Lavender is one of the oils that you don't have to dilute, and frankincense, but generally speaking, dilute the essential oils, and you can research that online as well. And also be patient, be consistent. If you're using it for anything particular, if you're having a skin issues, psoriasis, be patient, because the oils take time, not like the pharmaceuticals. Oh, it'll work in 3 days. The essential oils take time. It's natural, it's plant therapy, it's more gentle. And so it just be persistent and consistent. Yeah. And start low, go slow, and record.
I love that. Start low and go slow. One more point I would like to add to that is that different people have different tolerances to tastes and to the strength of the oils. So for me, for example, one of the blends in doTERRA called On Guard, I can just take a drop directly under my tongue and swallow, but it's one of the strong oils, even though, yes, and for some people it's too much to handle, so they have to dilute it in water. So it depends on your tolerance as well. So absolutely, definitely test, always dilute first and then go from there. Exactly. Megan, do you have any tool or resource you'd like to share with our audience before we close this podcast? Something they can use in their day-to-day life just to improve their health and well-being?
I would say a good thing to do is to journal. They can journal, track your progress, right? Day to day. What oils did you use today? What blend did you use? How many drops did you use? And also, how did you feel after using it? Did it give you better sleep? Did it increase your pain? Yeah, so I think that's something that everyone can do, is to journal, so they can look back and see their progress after, say, 1 month or 2 months.
Perfect. And Megan, one last thing, if somebody wants to get in touch with you from our listeners or viewers, what is the best way to reach you?
I'm available on WhatsApp 050-355-0036, and my Instagram is @inurse oil essentials.
Megan, it was an absolute pleasure to have you with me today. This was a very interesting chat. Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful gems you shared. And I can't wait to do this again.
Yes, anytime. We've only just started.
Thank you so much, Megan.
Thank you, Rasha.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. We hope you found it insightful and you enjoyed it as much as we did creating it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Let's continue creating this amazing community of holistic wellness seekers and practitioners together. See you in the next one.